Looks like the Georgia prosecutor is honing in on some charges for Trump and the election probe. If you've forgotten, Trump had called the Georgia governor and tried to convince them to quote unquote find votes that would have made him win the election.
Today, an indication of exactly when former President Trump and allies may face criminal charges in Atlanta. The Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis investigating efforts to overturn Trump's loss in Georgia in the presidential election outlined a 3-week period in August when she expects heightened attention around the Atlanta courthouse. The DA's investigation is vast, from a Rudy Giuliani-led legislative hearing focused on false statements about the election.
This election was a sham.
To Trump's infamous call to the Georgia Secretary of State.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Yep, he wanted the dude to find one more than enough votes so that it would overturn the election into his favor. And it's hilarious because it was recorded on it's recorded, and there's no way for him to like weasel out of him trying to interfere with the election.
Well as an alleged scheme to replace Joe Biden's Georgia electors with fake Trump electors. In a recent court filing, quote, 8 of the electors who were offered immunity accepted. Their possible cooperation could indicate the DA is focused on prosecuting bigger name targets.
I hate that these people were given immunity for hoping get charges on other people. It's like these people committed crimes and then they're being rewarded for it, basically.
Including potentially Trump. Trump and Giuliani say they've done nothing illegal.
And in the wings, they've got a local racist Democrat district attorney in Atlanta who is doing everything in her power to indict me over an absolutely perfect phone call.
I find it hilarious that he calls the person racist when Trump is one of the most racist presidents. Well, maybe not. Well, he is on a good list of racist presidents that we have had. I mean, if you go back far enough, I mean, definitely, like, George Washington was a lot more racist than Trump, but I just find this funny. I mean, Trump and his father was sued and they lost for discrimination, housing discrimination against black people when Trump was pretty young.
Trump repeatedly attacking the district attorney with unfounded claims, even calling for her ouster from her job. This spring, his attorneys filed a motion to put a kibosh on the investigative report put together by the Georgia Special Grand Jury that interviewed more than 75 witnesses and recommended yet to be disclosed criminal charges. One of their reasons? Claims that jurors have inappropriately talked about their deliberations, including the foreperson who foreshadowed who may be charged in an interview with NBC's Blaine Alexander.
There are certainly names that you would recognize, yes.
Georgia's investigation is not his only legal peril. Trump is facing his New York hush money payment trial ahead, as well as the federal special counsel's continued investigation into possible mishandling of classified information and his efforts to overturn the 2020 election in D.C. In both cases, he is saying there was no wrongdoing.
He has like 4 or 5 different investigations against him, and he's running for president. It's hilarious. I hope he eventually gets thrown into jail. Any other person would have been thrown into jail a lot sooner than this.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it.
But Trump's political standing only strengthening. His lead in the polls among Republican voters growing since his indictment in New York, going from a 16-point lead over DeSantis to a 36-point margin now in an average of polls.
Well, I guess DeSantis should start doing some crimes. The human trafficking of migrants is not boosting his polling numbers. Maybe he should start shooting some people.
And now, Gabe, NBC News anticipates both Senator Tim Scott and Governor Ron DeSantis will make their formal presidential campaign announcements next week, adding to what is becoming a crowded GOP field to challenge Donald Trump.